Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is Mysticall, and today I'm bringing you hopefully a very useful video on how to not run out of mana on a Mistweaver monk. Don't really play any other healers, so I really can't help you. I give you tips because I know some things about other healers, but for the most part, this is gonna be for Mistweaver monk. I'm gonna have this video broken down to 3 different parts. The first part is why you're running out of mana and the spells that you might be using incorrectly. The second part is how to fix those problems and what you can do to stop running out of mana. And then the third part is when you should actually be looking for a drink, because inevitably with the mana nerfs, you will be running out of mana in some matchups. It's just going to happen. So I'm going to hopefully give you some insight on how and when to start going for drinks. So let's get right into the video. Alright, so why are you running out of mana? Let's say you're playing, I don't know, TSG, and you're running into some kind of spell cleave, maybe Warrior Mage or something like that, and you're just running out of mana. You have to look for a drink, and then you look for a drink while the other team is bursting, and your team just dies. But why were you in the first place? I can give you some insight because I used to run out of mana very quickly. I get this asked a lot on my streams and videos, so hopefully I can help you guys out. And there's no script, so I'm just going off the top of my head. The first part I would say is Maledict. When somebody uses Maledict, you do not the last option you want to do is heal through this absorption. You don't want to heal an extra 62,000 healing because it's so much mana. You're better off just waiting for it to go away. You really are, just waiting the 6 seconds. If you have no spell, it's just hard. If you don't know how, I just put out a video for Maledict, but you could also use a PvE trinket. This PvE trinket, I think I mentioned in the video, is from the first boss. So I would suggest, so this is Mythic. It's a 420 item level. Just got it the other day. And it heals, or it gives an absorption shield right off the first boss on Mythic. Like, if you're trying to farm a trinket, try and get this one. It's really good, really powerful. Another reason why you might be running out of mana, maybe you're using Essence Font. Listen to my words. There's no scenario ever in Arena, maybe even RPGs, where you should be using Essence Font. Okay, do not use Essence Font. You could take it off your bar. Free up the keybind if all you do is Arena. Seriously, it's really not good in Arena at all. Why else are you running out of mana? Oh, obviously the big one, Warrior the Crane. So before the mana nerfs, it was kind of okay to once in Arena, maybe twice, to use Warrior the Crane without Mana Tea. After the mana nerfs, you cannot, I repeat, you cannot use Crane without Mana Tea and think you're not going to have to go for a drink. It is 25, just boom, 25% of your mana is gone in the click of a button. And then you also have to use abilities that use mana. Rising Sun Kick, Black Oak Kick, it doesn't use any mana, but Rising Sun Kick does. It's really not good to use Warrior the Crane without Mana Tea. So you're going to have to pretend Warrior the Crane has a 90-second cooldown, and you have to use it with Mana Tea every time. Obviously, there are situations where you can't wait, right? Like, being realistic, there's no way you're not gonna have a situation where you have to wait for Mana Tea. So sometimes you're gonna have to press it, but that just means you're gonna have to be ready to go for a drink, or tell your team, be vocal. Tell your team, I'm using Crane without Mana Tea. I'm gonna have to go for a drink soon. That's what you're gonna have to do. Try to think of other situations. Okay, so other situations, Thunder Focus Tea, and you're using Enveloping Mist too much. That's another thing. Okay, so if you're just using Enveloping Mist and Renewing Mist to heal, you're doing it wrong, unfortunately. You're going to want to use Soothing Mist and then Vivifies with Thunder Focus Tea. I'll get into that in a little bit, but basically, you might just be using Enveloping Mist too much. Try and tone down the Enveloping Mist. What I suggest is getting something like Skada, Details, or Recount. And after every arena, win or loss, after every arena, check out your top healing. And Enveloping Mist really shouldn't be too high up there. Maybe it depends on the matchup, but normally it's going to be probably Renewing Mist, and then the Gust of Mist, which is your mastery, right here. And then it might be Vivify, and then maybe Enveloping. Of course, it depends on the matchup. Oh, Way the Crane's going to be up there too. And same with your statue. So, Enveloping Mist is probably going to be like maybe 5 or 6. Maybe. Okay, so just go through your Scata after every matchup. See what your healing has done. See the breakdown of it. And I don't know if I have any breakdowns. Oh, maybe I do? Oh, no, this is just... No. Okay, I don't have any breakdowns, but yeah. Just take a look at the breakdowns. Make sure you're not using Enveloping Mist too much. And I think that's pretty much it for why you're probably running out of mana. So let's get into how you can correct these problems and how you could prevent yourself from running out of mana. So first things first, biggest tip I give you guys is, I said it earlier, always use Mana Tea with Crane. Always, every time. Pretend Crane has a 90-second cooldown and just line up with Mana Tea. It's that way it's only 12.5% of your mana, and it's really good. It's really powerful. Again, there are going to be times where you're going to have to use Crane without Mana Tea, and just tell your team, I'm going to have to go for a drink eventually, sometime, probably in like 2 or 3 minutes. So just give them a heads up. Now the biggest tip, or that was the biggest tip, but like another important concept stems from this talent, Focus Thunder, and Thunder Focus Tea. So Thunder Focus Tea normally is used in maybe, actually all of them work out pretty well. Usually in the start of an arena, I use Thunder Focus Tea Renewing Mist to increase the duration of Renewing Mist. I use Thunder Focus Tea Enveloping Mist sometimes for burst healing if someone's really low. Obviously, I use the Rising Sun Kick for Way the Crane. But the most overlooked one, and this is going to save you so much mana. This is the key. Honestly, this is the key to not running out of mana. Using Thunder Focus Tea when you have, a few Renewing Mist up. Using Soothing Mist, and then using it for free Vivifies. So let's just read it. Vivify costs no mana. So if you're stacking Mastery, which you should be, right? Because that's Mastery verse, I think, are your best stats. You could be using Thunder Focus Tea Enveloping Mist for 2 free Vivifies, which is equal to, I don't even know. I don't know how much healing that is. Let me see. Vivify, 14,000. 22,000, 14,000. There you go. It's a good amount of healing. So whenever you see your team like taking some kind of single target or like even a little spread pressure, Vivify should be your go-to heal. You should cast Soothing Mist. You should Thunder Focus Tea, Soothing Mist, Vivify. And here's one little small thing that I might have that you guys might overlook. So when you use Mana Tea, I'll show you guys in a sec. When you use Mana Tea, all of your spells are reduced by 50%, right? Now you do not want to waste. So if I use Mana Tea and I use Soothing Mist and I get the Enveloping, it's 50% off. Let me wait until Thunder Focus Tea just so I can show you guys. Sometimes people use a second charge of Thunder Focus Tea on a free Vivify when they're already using 50% reduced healing on spells with Mana Tea. So you don't want to waste that second Vivify. I'll show you guys what I mean. So, let's say I have Mana Tea up, we have Thunder Focus Tea, boom. We get the half off on Enveloping Mist, and then you use the second Vivify when we already have Mana Tea active. You're just wasting that second charge. Even though it's free, it could be reduced by 50%, and the cost of it is pretty cheap. It's like $17.50. Yeah, it's not bad. So don't stack Thunder Focus Tea with Enveloping Mist or with Vivify. Mana Tea should be used for probably mostly Crane and getting Enveloping Mist and Renewing Mist, and then save it for Renewing Mist or Vivifies as well for Thunder Focus Tea, if that makes sense. So when you use Mana Tea, you're basically going to want to get out your Renewing Mists, get out an Enveloping Mist if you need to, and then maybe get out Vivify if you want, but you're going to want to mainly use it for Crane. You make sure you use Crane while Mana Tea is active, and then use your Thunder Focus Tea for 2 free Vivifies. So 2 free Vivifies on top of Statue and Soothing Mist, your target is going to be healed pretty much to full, depending on how much deepening and dampening you are. It's still going to be insane. And any other tips? Let's see. Obviously, don't heal through Maledict. I made a whole video about Maledict. Don't heal through Maledict. You want to dispel it instantly. Just pretend your dispel is like a 60k heal. That's it. Obviously, use your PvE trinkets when you can. Look at that, 76,851. It's really good. And then honestly, it all comes down to avoiding as much damage as you can, which is mostly a team effort, not just a healing effort. It's a team effort to avoid damage. Obviously, you're going to want to press Cocoon as soon as you can. Like, it's a 55-second cooldown. It's pretty much nothing. That's like the shortest healing cooldown in the game. So what you're going to want to do is when you see the other team using cooldowns, just press Life Cocoon. Do not try, especially in twos. If you see a rogue pressing Vendetta, and you're like, and you can just pour it away, don't try and fight it. Just pour it away. And if he gets to you, just Cocoon. Do not try and just think to yourself, oh, you know what? I'll just heal through this damage. If you have Revival, Life Cocoon, Mana Tea, Thunder Focus Tea, it's just not worth it. It's really not. Just all you have to do is just pour it away, use Life Cocoon, and avoid as much damage as you can. Ever since Monk came out, the signature is just avoid as much damage as you can. You know, we have rolls, you know, we have port, we have Life Cocoon. Just try to avoid as much damage as you can. And if they're on your teammates, just let them know, you know, hey, this is the Destro Lock just popped Infernos. Let's line. So now you're lining damage. And that means the more damage you're avoiding, the less you have to heal through, which means less mana you have to spend. You know, oh, this is Vendetta. All right, or a Combustion. This is Combustion. My Death Knight drops AMZ. I don't have to heal as much because they're taking less damage, and I use less mana. So stuff like that. You trade cooldowns to prevent as much damage as you can, and then as soon as you get to the late game, take advantage of hopefully the warrior that's on your team and with Mortal Strike and get the kill. And that's pretty much it for how to correct some mana mistakes. So let's briefly talk about when you should actually be going for a drink. Because even with perfect mana rotation and stuff like that, and avoiding as much damage as you can, you're still going to run out of mana eventually at some point, probably in twos. Most of the time it's happened to me in twos. And threes, normally games don't last that long. So what do you do? So you can go to the innkeeper at Snug Harbor Inn, or probably any innkeeper in BFA, and get the Rock Skip Mineral Water. And that's the water I use. And you're going to look for a drink. You can only drink out of combat. So some tips for getting out of combat super quick. Shadow Meld, really good if you're a Night Elf. And then I've had this problem. I don't know if anyone else has had this problem, but when I use Renewing Mist, so like let's say my teammate is over here and my statue is healing my teammate, but I'm LOS. My statue is healing my teammate and keeps me in combat. So when I go for a drink, I put my port next to me. I don't know if anyone's ever had that problem. You might not have to use this, but my statue is the reason why it keeps me in combat sometimes, and then I go for a drink. Okay. Also, super quick, make sure you have a keybind for your water. You don't want to be looking in your bags. You don't water. Okay. All right, we got it. Just put it on put it on the keybind right here. You don't want to have to go into your bags mid game. Tips for getting out of combat, or like when to look for a drink. Situational, but most of the time you really want to go for a drink when your team is ahead and doing pressure. So let me just say, for example, let's say we're playing against like Rogue Destrolock, something like that, you know. Rogue Destrolock, they don't have a lot of mobility. And let's say they just use Infernos. We used AMZ and I used Crane, and my team is topped off. But now it's our turn. You know, my Death Knight has Unholy Frenzy. My DK has, I don't know, Avatar and Bladestorm. It's our turn to go on the offensive, and I'm sitting at like maybe 50% mana. The rest of Druids at like 80% mana. You got to look for a drink early on. The earlier you can get the drink, the better. You do not want to worry about mana like when it's a problem. You know, you want to completely avoid it being a situation in the first place and just go for those early drinks. Even if you're at 90% mana, just go for the drink. So, okay, back to the scenario. You know, now my team is ready to get aggressive. And I already used Crane, so, you know, I'm just going to be sitting back chilling. Pour it away, especially as a monk. You could just pour it away And now, because my team is aggressive, the other team, the enemy team, is going to be on the defensive. So they're going to be doing as much damage, or they're doing as much as they can to avoid the damage. They're going to be kiting around pillars, and they can be kiting around this pillar, you know, trying to avoid damage. You're trying to avoid my DK damage and warrior damage. And you got me in the back. I'm sipping on water. You know, my team is playing aggressive, and I'm just drinking water. And now, you know, now burst is over. And now we're back. I'm healing. I'm at 100% mana. Boom. There you go. Now, obviously there are going to be situations where that doesn't happen. You know, we're playing aggressive. I'm trying to go for a drink. And the other team's like, okay, let's counter it. You know, and this is a perfectly viable, if the enemy team is going for, the enemy healer is going for a drink, pop your cooldowns and try and get him to stop drinking. You know, make him fall behind. So in that situation where you're trying to go for a drink and the other team is playing aggressive while you're trying to drink, you know, while your team, so both teams are being aggressive, you're going to need to call it out as the healer. This needs to be this is your decision as a healer. Like, you're the quarterback here. You can either, one, you can stop drinking, and that's a waste of about 6 or 7 seconds for going for a drink, and now you're so far behind. Or you can say, hey, warrior, just use Die by the Sword. I need this drink. So you can rotate defensives as well on your teammates for a drink if it's needed. You know, if it's necessary, trade cooldowns, trade defensive cooldowns for the drink, which it's perfectly acceptable, and it's sometimes it has to happen, you know, honestly. You can even say, hey, warrior, can you leap away? You know, and he leaps away to the other pillar, and I'm over here, I'm drinking, I'm sipping on water. And I'm just making sure he's not dying. You know, as a monk, what I try and do is when I go for a drink, I try to make sure I have life cocoon. So like, let's say, even if my warrior gets low, like sub like 20% health, and I'm still drinking water, but he's coming in line, I'll just roll, boom, life cocoon. It's a 55-second cooldown. I trade a 55-second cooldown for 100% mana. I do that every day. I do that every single day. I think that is it. I talked about why you're probably running out of mana, how to prevent yourself from running out of mana, and then when you run out of mana, how and when you could actually do it. So I know this is a really important video, especially for newer monks who are still trying to figure out how to save mana. I hope this video was clear for you guys. Again, and as always, if you have any questions, please let me know. I'm happy to answer them. This is a really common question on my stream and my videos, so I hope this is useful. And that's pretty much it. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend. I will see all of you later. I'll be streaming probably. And have a great day, really.